Okay, so now I'm going to talk about just real quickly something, the most recent news with Notre Dame football, and that's the recent recruitment and the miss of quarterback Dante Moore. So, if you are new here or new to this channel or new to following Notre Dame football, obviously Notre Dame's top target in the 2023 class undoubtedly was five-star quarterback Dante Moore out of Detroit, Michigan. Again, if you've missed it, Notre Dame seemed to be the leader in the clubhouse for Dante Moore. Seemed like he was a solid, pretty confident commit at some point. Crystal balls were going in for Dante Moore to commit to Notre Dame. Everything seemed to be trending to Dante Moore being Notre Dame's elite recruit in the class of 2023. Obviously, as we saw this past Friday, that didn't happen. Dante Moore ended up committing to the University of Oregon, and people wonder where things went wrong. And, let me make this very clear that, I don't have sources, close to these recruits. I don't have, inside knowledge. I do a good bit of reading from different people who talk about these things, who are experts in these areas, who have obviously a little bit more inside knowledge than I do. And I kind of try to read the tea leaves, I guess you could kind of say, about what happens. And people, of course, come up with own theories about what happened with Dante Moore. And where Notre Dame went wrong. Did Notre Dame just give up? Did Notre Dame just punt on the recruitment of Dante Moore? What happened? How did he end up at Oregon? Here's really my theory. And like I say, this comes from, reading some insider things, from, social media, from just following the recruiting trail as more of a fan. If you listen to anybody or read anybody or listen to the Notre Dame podcasts from the insiders, it sounds pretty clear that Dante Moore was at some point, at the very least, a silent commit to Notre Dame at some point. Now, where did things get wrong? Well, if you ask the Notre Dame fans, if you ask people on Twitter, well, when Notre Dame started recruiting CJ Carr, five-star quarterback out of the state of Michigan, Michigan legacy quarterback in the class of 2024, Dante Moore was, just decided, well, I'm not going to go where another five-star quarterback is going to go. And therefore Notre Dame is no longer interested in me. I'm not interested in Notre Dame. And Notre Dame said the same thing. We got CJ Carr. We're going to stop recruiting Dante Moore. This could not be, in my opinion, couldn't be further from the truth. I don't really think those types of things are what happened with Dante Moore's recruitment. First off, any five-star quarterback that thinks they're worth their salt does not care that another quarterback in a different class than them is going to commit to a school. Okay. We've seen it. I always use the example. Ohio State had JT Barrett and Cardale Jones and whoever the heck else they had. They have CJ Stroud. They had Quinn Ewers at one point. They brought in five-star commits, high quality commits and I'm just talking about the quarterback position, but you can really go on down the line. The best teams bring in the best players at every position every single year. There are multiple five-star commits at quarterback, at running back, at wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, all the defensive positions. So I really don't think that Dante Moore sat and looked at Notre Dame recruiting another quarterback in a different class and said, I'm not interested in Notre Dame anymore. I really just have a tough time believing that that's what a kid who was as competitive as Dante Moore is, and we know he is from reading the things that the experts. I don't think a little bit of a quarterback competition scared Dante Moore away from Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame also said, oh, hey, we're satisfied with CJ Carr in the class of 2024, and then went ahead and said, we're not so worried. We don't even want Dante Moore on our roster. I don't think that's the way that Marcus Freeman operates in recruiting, and it would be stupid to operate in such a way, in my opinion. What I actually think happens is that, Dante Moore, and you can make all these NIL conspiracies and arguments all you want. What I think happened is that Dante Moore decided that he was going to, he was a soft commit to Notre Dame. And at some point when he became a soft commit to Notre Dame said, hey, listen, we want you to, go public with this so that you can, be our leader in that 2023 class and start recruiting the other positions. And Dante Moore just wasn't ready to do that yet. He continued to take those official visits. Whether or not you think Notre Dame put a little bit more pressure, like, hey, come on now. Like, we know you want to be here. We know you want to be there. Let's go ahead and get this done so that we can continue to put that class together. Those conversations were probably had. Whether or not, Dante was a little bit turned off by Notre Dame being pushed, I don't know. Like I say, I'm speculating completely here. At some point along the line, Dante Moore decided, well, I don't want to be the leader of Notre Dame's class of 2023. I want to play out this recruitment. I want to be courted by these teams, the Texas A&Ms, the LSUs, the Michigans of the world, and obviously Oregon, where he ended up committing. And this isn't going to work out. And at some point, Notre Dame and Dante Moore just were no longer seeing eye to eye, and the commitment cooled. And I really think the CJ Carr commitment was icing on the cake. When CJ Carr committed, it was kind of the relationship between Notre Dame and Dante Moore was already probably a little bit fractured at that point. And, as someone is saying in the comments, Notre Dame 2164, he says, I don't think Dante Moore committed to Oregon. I think his dad committed to Nike. Well, I mean, again, like I say, NIL theories, I'll hear them. That's probably not a bad assumption to make, that NIL had something to do with it. But again, the bottom line and the point that I'm getting to in a roundabout way here is that if Dante Moore didn't want to commit to Notre Dame publicly, didn't want to be the guy to lead that 2023 class, to start, to get on some other guys, some receivers, to commit also to Notre Dame, then do you want Dante Moore to be your quarterback of the future? I mean, I think that's a legitimate question. If he's that competitive and he's that much of a leader and he's that much of a good guy and he's, this game-changing type of a guy, but he won't go public with his commitment. He doesn't want to recruit to the class of 2023 at Notre Dame. I just don't know that he's the quarterback that you necessarily want. Do I love Dante Moore as a football player? Yes. I had a great time, watching some of his film. And when I say film, mostly highlights, I guess you could say. I would have been a lot of fun to watch Dante Moore in South Bend on Saturdays. It just didn't work out. And, maybe it was for the better, because if he didn't want to do those things while he was being recruited, he maybe didn't want to do those things as the leader of a football team, as a guy that, other guys were going to look to. And maybe it was just better that it didn't work out. Chris Unherded, thanks for your comment. Chris says perhaps he'll do poorly, or Oregon will do poorly this season. Come back to Notre Dame. There's something to be said for that. I think that that is something that happens from time to time in college football. A guy goes to a place for a couple of years, it doesn't work out. Unforeseen things happen in the Notre Dame football quarterback room. And all of a sudden, since there was a relationship there, it becomes easier for a guy like Dante Moore to come back to Notre Dame. I mean, I'm not saying that's not out of the question. I wouldn't put money on it, but I think that's something, that could happen. I mean, I wouldn't say it's likely. I think, like I say, probably as others have alluded to, there was some NIL money there that's going to keep him at Oregon. Oregon's going to roll out the red carpet. And if I have any hunch about how Dante Moore is going to do as a football player, it's going to be pretty well. So anyway, so